Welcome to another episode of The Mentorship. This is actually an idea I had from the previous week. I think this is a very important topic that we're going to go over. And this is one of the things that you are very in need of understanding. So at this point, we've covered the swing model, the intraday model, daily bias, and weekly bias. But what do we do when our bias is wrong? Because this is a reality that we all have to accept and understand. Our bias will just simply be wrong sometimes. That's how trading is, okay? And we need to know that, because if we are in denial that our bias is going to be wrong sometimes, then we're going to constantly keep chasing the opportunity even when it's not presented or even when we're proven wrong. So we need to understand when we are proven wrong and how to spot when we are proven wrong. So this current week, or the week that has just went past, was a very good example of that. Hence why I'm making this video now. Because this is a week where our overall bias at the start of the week or going into the week was incorrect. And this was all done live. So we'll start with what we expected price to do, and then what price actually did, and then how we were in real time able to reevaluate, manage our losses, and also catch a winning position with our bias after being reevaluated. So number one, before we start, the most important thing is to not switch bias too early, because we have to actually understand when we've been proven wrong. A lot of the time you might think that you're proven wrong, but it's just you thinking, okay, it's went up, it's not shorts anymore, I'll take a long. And then it actually does go for shorts, and then vice versa. You keep switching, and then you're just gonna have a massive losing streak. So we need to understand when our bias is completely incorrect, okay? So starting off with what we wanted for the week, and we could even, I might place the video of what we actually wanted to happen. But overall, this is what the chart looked like going into the week. And as you guys already know how to do your bias, but we'll do a reevaluation of what I was thinking. So we had swept buy side liquidity on the daily. Obviously, let's go back to the weekly first of all. The weekly closed extremely bearish, and obviously one thing to note is that we had a weekly fair value gap that was tapped into. So we are evaluating right now, do we want price to trade higher off the weekly? Okay. Or do we want price to continue lower because we have bearish momentum? So at this point, I'm looking at the monthly time frame as well, as we always do. So we go to the monthly, and I'm looking at, okay, well, on the monthly, we have also swept the monthly high, and we also have a monthly fair value gap over here. So I'm evaluating that as well. And then, as we said, we now go to the daily after we've looked at the monthly and weekly. And we're also looking, okay, price has swept buy side liquidity over here. We've created a nice swing high over here, and price looks like it's going lower. I want to kind of evaluate if price has an opportunity for us to continue with the bearish order flow or the bearish momentum. So I'm actually looking for DXY sells in this opportunity. Yes, I understand that we've traded into the weekly, but my overall prediction at this point is I think we will get a retracement, but I think we'll probably end up going lower for the rest of the month, okay? So knowing that, you guys also know, we then evaluate on EU and GU. Going into this week, I was looking at primarily GU. Why? Because GU closed the previous week with a lot of bullish momentum. We had loads of highs over here. I'm aiming for these highs. I'm looking, okay, GU is actually very strong right now. And I'm looking for price to continue trading higher on GU. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm thinking at this point. And if we then skip to Monday, it will become even clearer. Okay, we've went one candle too far, so I'll get rid of that one. So at this point, if you go to the weekly outlook for this current or for this previous week, you'll see exactly what I'm saying. But I'm looking, okay, Monday has actually closed even higher, and if we look at DXY, Monday again had traded even lower. Okay, we had taken out this weekly low. Of course, we didn't close under it, but as a whole, we've created this daily fair value gap here on DXY, like this. And on GU, we've similarly actually closed pretty strong. We already were going into the week potentially with the DXY bearish bias, and I'm looking at this daily fair value gap for an opportunity for a buy, okay? And I'm thinking I will take buys from here, and I want to continue bullish order flow from here. And at this point, there's nothing wrong with me thinking that, because this is my plan, and I'm going to show you how if you create your plan properly and you execute properly, it's not going to cause you many issues in the market, because you'll be able to deal with it and evaluate in good timing. But because I've created this plan, Monday has now closed, as you guys know, and we're now waiting for the next day, Tuesday, to trade into here. And I actually wanted a swing entry. So what I've done is I've set the swing over here like this from the daily. I think I have my stop loss like so, I believe. Actually, I think it was a little bit lower like this. Yeah, 82 pips. It was 82 pips. So it was exactly this position. This is exactly what I'm thinking. I'll just take a daily swing on the basis that DXY trades back into this daily fair value gap and we continue going for the monthly fair value gap. And on the basis that GU trades back into this daily fair value gap and continues higher for buy side liquidity. I'm aiming for this sort of position. That's what I'm looking at. And now if you see what actually happens on the next day, we trade into the daily fair value gap. Okay, so now I will go on the hourly chart and show you what's happening. So this is us now tapped into the position, and be careful, this is the important part. This is how we're actually going to manage the trade. So we'll make this a little bit easier for us to look at. And so this is the hourly. Obviously we'd set the daily. We're expecting bullish price action on GU. Okay, and right now, as of now, we've not really done anything. So we're skipping price. This is me in the trade, and I'm just chilling in the trade at this moment. Okay. As you could see, at this point, we've actually made a decent displacement on price. It's now Wednesday at 7 a.m. I have now decided, okay, well, on the 4-hour chart, we've actually made a decent displacement. Obviously, it's just skipped a candle, which is unfortunate. But at this point, we made a decent displacement. If you look at the daily range, we have done around 47 pips on GU. And if you also look at the DXY, at that point, we had traded into, it's going to spoil things when I do this, because the weekly candle, the daily candle wasn't here at this point. TradingView does this, which is annoying. But at this point, the daily candle is around here, and we just want price to expand lower for the rest of the day. So I'm now keeping in mind that I don't really want price to trade higher than these highs over here, because if it does, I believe that DXY is probably now actually going to invalidate this GU position at this current point in time. Okay, so because of that, and if you also look at the hourly, you know, we have started actually displacing. Obviously, it's not the craziest displacement on the hourly. It's very, very choppy. But just evaluating the position, I don't think that it would be necessary for me to still even be in this swing position if it goes any lower than this low. And what ends up happening is price takes me out the trade. So I've taken a very, very minimal loss on here, less than 0.1 R probably of the whole position. And we end up losing. And what happens after that? Price ends up going even lower, and then price started to trade higher. This is also the day of FOMC. I'm still thinking that GU could have a bullish bias on the week, but on this position, I don't want to be in anymore. And we're looking at DXY now on the hourly, and we also see DXY has now taken out this high, and we seem to be going lower from here. So potentially, have I got stopped out GU too early? It's okay. I've managed the loss. Yes, we're going higher now. A lot of people are going to be upset about this. We've went higher as soon as my stop loss got hit. But we have to remain level-headed and calm. Okay, we managed the position. I didn't really see if DXY is going to go higher that I should still be in this GU position, but other than that, okay, we've been stopped out. Acceptance. All right. Also on the same day, to put into perspective, we have FOMC driver at 7 p.m. I am not excited to be in this position if I'm in drawdown before FOMC. I think the camera's a little bit out of focus. Okay, yeah, that's better. So I don't want to be in drawdown over here before FOMC, and then FOMC comes out and completely slips my position. So I'm like, okay, before news, we've already been managed the risk. Let's see what happens on the news driver. So nothing really changes until the news driver now. So we'll wait until the news driver. Okay, so this is now 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and the next candle is FOMC. So we will reevaluate. Originally, this big line, obviously, over here was the daily fair value gap, and we've now managed risk on this position. So let's just get rid of this so you can put into perspective. So this over here was the original daily fair value gap tag. This was us getting stopped out of that position with a very minimal loss. And now we're waiting for FOMC again to reevaluate our position. So if you now see the next candle of FOMC, boom. Price trades into the hourly fair value gap over here and now starts displacing higher. So again, I'm looking now, if you look at DXY, similar scenario over here. We've traded into the hourly order block and it looks like we're going to displace lower. Okay, so on GU, what have I done? I have, on the 15-minute at this point, I have re-entered another position on GU with the exact same bias of, I believe, that price should continue higher for the rest of the week now. So the original bias that I had, obviously, first position was stopped out over here, and we have minimized that loss heavily because the stop loss was here. Okay, but now after the news confirmation from both GU and DXY, I believe that GU is going to trade higher for the rest of the week, and I've actually got a bit of a smaller target now, but around something like this. I believe that GU is going to trade higher now. So as you can see now, we then chop around on GU and we eventually start, as you could see, this is a big chop at this point, right? But if we let time play out, you could see that we eventually started trading higher. If we just let price play. So also very, very important to note, this was a big consolidation over here and we haven't exited the position here. Why? Because it was not invalid at this point. DXY at this point had simply traded into this order block, okay, on the 15-minute. And in the Medship at this exact point, I've actually put an update that I believe DXY could trade lower from here and we could still have the correct position on GU. So we've not exited our position yet. And as you can see, what DXY ends up doing is trading lower. As you could see, like so. So we've seen a big dump on DXY now. We're happy, we're in GU, and this is what price looks like at the moment. Okay, yet again, I'm managing my risk. Why? Because we have to be careful on what's going on the overall picture. The overall picture at this point is telling us, okay, DXY is looking good. We look at GU. GU is also looking good. We're now out of drawdown. We're in position. We might hit our weekly target. But we always have to be careful on one thing. Evaluating what's going to happen next. And we're looking at DXY in this volume imbalance over here. Okay? We want to see if price completely trails through this and goes right through, I'm looking at DXY to target these lows over here, which in reality would make GU hit my take profit position. That's what we're looking at. But we don't have this skewed bias which only fits into what we want. We are also understanding that we could be wrong, okay? So we're looking in this volume imbalance, although we want price to trade lower, it could, in reality, it could trade higher from here. So we have to be careful of that and look at the overall picture. So to protect myself from that, I don't really believe that if GU now starts reacting from over here after we've taken buy side liquidity here, here, and here, although I want it to trade higher, I'm getting rid of my feelings. Although I want it to trade higher, if we start trading lower from here, I don't think that this position is valid anymore. So again, we've managed our risk, and what we've done is moved our stop loss to break even. Because if we look at the position, if we have a displacement as big as this from buy side liquidity, we are probably going to go and hit our full stop loss, and the position is most likely going to be invalid. What makes us realize that this will be invalid at this specific position? Because we have seen a big 35 pip displacement. Yes, we feel like we're in the clear, but yeah, as I say, if price comes all the way back down to here, do I actually want to be in the position? Do I think it's valid? No, because we will have eaten up the whole displacement move and we'll be coming back to the territory where we're probably just completely incorrect about the bias. This is what a trader needs to think about. Take your feelings away from it and understand what the possibilities actually are. So we have went break even now, and as you could see, we chilling a little bit over here, and then boom, price hits my break even over here, as you could see, and we are now stopped out of the trade at 0 loss. So we've not lost the trade, we've not won the trade. Yes, feels like we've wasted time, but it's okay. We've had 2 managed positions, one very, very minimal loss and one break even, so no loss. So at this point, you might think, oh, I wish I won a trade this week. Most people that were trading intraday, or even that had bad emotions, probably lost a lot in this range, whereas we, as we're trading the higher time frame, it's given us time to prepare, to have the wrong bias, and we've managed the position. Yes, we got stopped out, but turn back to DXY. What did we say about this volume imbalance? This potentially price could react here, and if it does, then we might be looking at higher price on DXY. Our GU position is most likely invalid, and DXY is most likely going to trade higher. And that's what we've seen over here. We traded into this hourly bearish fair value gap, and we haven't really seen any reaction, which now makes me again question the overall bias. I wanted DXY to trade lower, that was a feeling, but it's not showing me any reasons that I want to go lower. And instead, we've actually had quite a heavy displacement off the volume imbalance, and we've created another fair value gap in here. At this point, I release another outlook of live price, and you can check the timestamps. It's in the daily outlooks. I did this ahead of time. I'm now taking my overall bias out the picture, which was DXY sells, because I believe I've been proven wrong now. And I'm saying I believe DXY is most likely going to trade into this fair value gap, and we will probably trade higher now because of this reaction from the volume imbalance, and because GU did not have enough strength, and we've also done the exact same thing on GU. I'm looking at how now, although as I say, although we wanted GU to go higher, we did sweep buy side liquidity here, here, and here. We've not closed above, and we've now displaced lower. This to me is starting to look like a very, very good sell opportunity, okay? And I have to take my overall, or my first bias out of the picture. I'm now actually, as I say in that live video that you can watch in the Daily Outlook channel, I'm actually now looking for GU to sell. And that is the biggest takeaway from this. Did we switch bias too fast? No, because we had a bullish bias here. We were proven incorrect from here. We've also had a bullish bias here, and we tried another shot at it. We got proven wrong again. Our feelings are not in the picture. This time with a solid bearish displacement over here, and with the way that DXY has reacted with the volume imbalance, now we're looking to actually switch bias, because now there's nothing for us to even think about longs anymore, which we wanted on GU. So that's what I've said in the Daily Outlook channel, and as I've reevaluated the position, I've now set a long position from here on GU like this, okay? After all of this reevaluation, and guess what? It's now Thursday. It's very late in the week. This is to show you that you'll always have opportunities if you know how to reevaluate price and you know how to read price. And keep in mind that the losses were very, very minimal and we didn't switch bias too early. That is something that you need to take away, because I don't want you guys to now watch this and start just switching bias for no reason. We have a valid reason to switch bias because of the DXY, because of the way GU has closed here on the hourly because of this displacement. So now we have set a limit entry on this hourly fair value gap. I'm expecting price to just have a small retracement and trade lower. Obviously, we still have the potential to lose this trade, as we do with every trade, but this is what we're actually looking at now for all of those factors. And we enter the trade and boom. Price actually, in my position, my take profit was hit around over here. So literally right away on the first candle. The reason for this is because I was trading it on one of my challenges, which was passed on this exact position. I managed to acquire another $200,000 in funding capital with this exact trade. Because guess what? In this losing position, we've not got absolutely destroyed because we managed. In this losing position, we've actually got break even. On this one, we've taken the correct position because we understood how to actually manage our bias. Anyways, this is what I needed to pass the account, which is why I've closed here. But if I was not in that position, then I would have, like a lot of you guys did, hold to the actual draw, because this is what my target was on DXY. And as you'll see, we eventually get there. So this is what happens the next day. We eventually hit our exact target right over here. And that is really how we ended the week. So this is how we've turned a losing bias into a winning trade. Don't be so fixated on following the plan when it's not actually proven you to be correct, right? You have to follow the plan when it's giving you signs to follow the plan. But when you're just completely incorrect, you have to get rid of that feeling, stop chasing that, and only reevaluate if it's the correct thing to do so with the bias, with DXY, with EU or GU, and for all those other reasons that we've mentioned in this video. So this is how we were able to reevaluate our bias in the middle of the week. I hope you guys have learned a lot from this video, and if you have any questions, let me know.